because you're not looking for bad motives. So now I can see so many things. I understand some people don't want to even tackle this topic, and I've been warned by people that if I say acute respiratory illnesses, colds and flu, are not caused by infectious particles, they're not contagious. If I say that people will not believe me. Well, I'm not going to lie. There's no point in me sitting here and telling you anything if I don't tell you the truth. I'm sure it's true. Some people will reject everything I've said because of what I've just said, but I can't help that. But I am qualified to have done the work. And you may note, I restrict my remarks to acute respiratory illnesses because that's where I've done all of the work. I've read all the papers. I can show any other scientist, I can send them a list of the papers if they want. So if someone thinks, no, he's wrong, if you're a qualified scientist and you think I'm wrong, contact me and we'll have a phone call and I will send you the papers. And I think you will have to conclude, as I do, that contagion isn't a thing. Obviously, those illnesses are real. I've had 2 bouts of flu, and dozens of colds. But basically, all I'm telling you is that the attribution, the mechanism of them happening is not what we were told. It's something else. I've spent a lot of time working with others in designing therapeutic aerosols, things that you can inhale and will land in the airway. So I know a little bit about the internal architecture of the lungs. You may have heard statistics like the inside surface of your lungs, if spread out flat, is about the size of a tennis court. I mean, whether that's exactly right, I don't know. But it's big. It's a big surface area. And every part of that internal surface is covered with a thin layer of liquid, which has got little mucus in it. Imagine your body all day and all night for a whole life has to regulate the thickness, the depth of that little layer of water. If it's too thick, or if it's too thin, or if it dries out, your lungs won't work properly. But I think occasionally they do veer off course. Patches of your lung lose control of what's called airway surface liquid, the wetness on the lining of bits of your lung. I think that's what a cold is. Seriously. I'll also offer one last piece of evidence, just to show I've done the work in my own area. You may know some people with cystic fibrosis, CF. It's a very unpleasant disease. It varies, though, in severity from, I didn't know you had CF, to poor babies that don't make a year old. What's the key problem in CF? It's to do with regulation of the state of hydration of your lungs and also your gut to some extent. People who made adulthood with cystic fibrosis, not the most severe cases, what's the most common thing that happens to them? They get colds very often. They can't regulate the airway surface liquid layer very well because the cystic fibrosis problem they've got, that's part of the machinery for regulating it, is broken. And when I thought of that, I thought, oh my word, that is why. So basically your health excursion, getting worse and then getting better again, is very similar to the episode that some people with cystic fibrosis have, because I think it's fundamentally the same mechanism. It's not caused by floating particles called viruses. It's caused it's not a conscious thing, but when you lose control of the balance, it's called homeostasis, when you lose control of the balance inside health of your lung, you might just get a scratchy throat, a bit of a cough, and you bounce back. I thought I was getting a cold there. Or you might get a bit of a cold, or you might really go down with something chesty, or you might have to take to your bed. And I think those are like a nested series of excursions from health and back to health. All right, that's what I think colds and flu are. They're not contagious, they're not caused by viruses, and I've given you a better explanation for what a cold is than the official story. So I invite you to take that on board. So yeah, I understand people not wanting to speak about viruses, but I think if you know the truth, you just have to speak it or get off the stage.